everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So let's do some viewer mail. Let's do some viewer mail. TerryJ123. She's been with me early on, like I think from the beginning. I won't want to say like when I had like 4 subscribers, but I don't think it was that far back. But she's been with me for a while. Pointed, very clear in getting her grievances across, or for that matter, if she likes a particular point. In this particular case, she's unhappy with something I've said. So I did a video on the People's Forum, on the People's Summit. Now, I wouldn't consider the video trashing the People's Summit. But if somebody else was looking at that video, could somebody consider me trashing the People's Summit? Yes. I can see that's a rational perspective of someone could potentially have. Even though at the time that I was delivering whatever I was saying, I did not feel like I was trashing the People's Summit. I was trying just to make this point that it wasn't enough. That's all. Like I was just trying to drill this point home. And probably I drilled it home a little too strong. That you need something a little bit more than a summit. Like you need something that can persist beyond the summit. If you want that change, you need to focus on a very specific task. Let me read her comments first. Now, the lettering is small, so forgive me if I mess this up, but Jamal, you really need to think hard about things and formulate your ideas before doing your videos. I haven't watched your first video about the People's Summit yet, but let me tell you what I took from this one. It is unbelievable that this is coming from the same guy who spent last week calling for a People's Summit full of people just like this one, which you said would sit around and talk to each other. Number 2, that you were willing to trash a leftist progressive summit and label it as worthless if it doesn't directly, overtly center around a plan to overthrow capitalism. Even when you haven't been to the summit last year or this year, and even though you've always fully supported all of the speakers who've been in attendance. 3, you then laugh and simply say you still want to go. Do you know how many people have worked to get to the People's Summit together again this year? Do you know that people aren't even able to get tickets? I get that we all want our most like-minded group of people to get together and have summits of our own. I've been wanting to do that too, and that's why I supported what you were saying and trying to do last week. That would be great. Let's do it. How can I help? I have tons of ideas. In my honest opinion, we need to start small and ASAP. But look, the bigger picture, the bigger we get, and we expand beyond just talking to ourselves, the less we can expect people to agree at first. When it comes to smaller issues here and there, especially when it comes to huge things like socialism, capitalism. I'm tired. I have to get up and get at least a few hours of sleep. But the last thing I'll say is, it's hard enough on us and work we're doing to be diminished, trashed, ridiculed constantly by the political class, including people like Bill Maher, who you just made videos about. The last thing we need for people of our own to do the same. I'm not saying we shouldn't criticize or hold people accountable, but please think long and hard and be picky about who and what you choose to go after and how you choose to go about it. This platform is not a joke. It can do a lot of good, but it can also do a lot of bad. I'm sure by now you've all heard the phrase, death by 1,000 cuts. Well, we think that every one video has potential to be one of those cuts. Our movement is relatively strong. Just look how far we've gotten in a short time, but it's also extremely vulnerable and historically prone to destruction and or self-destruction. I could keep writing, but I'm getting light outside. I hope I made some sense here. Terry, you did make sense. You did make sense. And like I said, I probably was a little strong on the other video. I have to be honest, I didn't take myself as trashing the People's Summit. But like I said, from an outside perspective, looking at the video, maybe. Fair enough. Fair enough. I did say you guys were in the room talking to yourselves. That's fair. All I would say is this. I agree with everything you said here. I don't necessarily need people to agree. At least not, I don't need them to agree with me, if that makes sense. Yeah, I don't need them necessarily to agree with me. I do want whatever that consensus is, whatever it is. Like in my head, you have an argument. You guys come to some kind of consensus on, okay, what are we going to represent? And you go from there. You have a bunch of earnest people coming to some consensus on what they want to represent. So I don't necessarily think any one particular individual is going to, this is the demarcation point between everything else. That's not what it is. I do want a body, though, whatever that body is, to persist. That's all. That's all. It's not so much that I need to and I've never said balls out, overthrow capitalism. All my videos I've said, going balls out or saying you want to go balls out to overthrow capitalism is not the argument that you make. I don't think that's the argument you can make. But I understand your point. Your point. And you have another point. Everybody wants to have a summit. That's also true. I would make the case that the difference between my summit and theirs is mine is persistent. That's the only thought. Or at the very least, for the number of people who they're having at this particular summit, yes, I would love for them to say, okay, we're going to have a body that is going to persist beyond the summit, and it's just going to go on and with a very specific objective, and not even putting people in office, of developing a movement. That's all. But yeah, I didn't mean to decry the People's Summit. That's not what I was getting at. If I trashed it unfairly, I apologize. That wasn't my intention. Yeah, I just was trying to make it this point of, yeah, it's not going far enough. But you got a good point. You do have good points. Sit around and talk to each other. And one last thing about this. The movement thing. I'm uncertain of what Terry does in this capacity, if I'm being honest. It seems that she's some kind of functionary in this regard. But I agree with many of the speakers that are going to be up there. You're right. I even agree with many of the aims that those guys have. So again, you're right. Just understand, I just want to make one point, and I am being slightly repetitive, but I just want to nail this home. It's not the summit that I'm taking issue with. Like, that needs to be clear. It's not even the people who are speaking here that I'm taking issue with. It's just this feeling of, I'm overtly impatient. I am. I'm just that way. And it feels like, all right, you're at a moment. You have a goblin in that office. It's everything you dislike. It's everything that you're saying is wrong with society. He's in that office. He's a representation of America that you want to target. He's right there. He's there for the world to see. He just browbeat the people from NATO. 23 leaders around the world. Just browbeat them. There's your guy. Now, that just seems like such opportunity. You have all these people freaking out and everything else. It just feels like, oh man, here's your lightning rod. This is your lightning rod. Do something. Do your thing. So I don't want you to think it was decrying the summit. My issue was, it just doesn't go far enough. I just want you to take that extra step of saying, all right, we have the summit. From this summit, we're going to spawn off an organization. And that organization is going to purely be there, purely for class rights. They get up in the morning, they go to bed at night. Those are the things that they're focused on. That's all. That's all. Yes, that's a little impatient. Yes, maybe over the top in regards to how I was putting it. But what I was saying was honest. I mean, it is true to a degree. I think you can agree with me. It was true. I think your issue is feels like I'm bashing the People's Summit. I didn't mean to do it that way. That wasn't my point. That wasn't my point. So I'm sorry if it came across that way. Apparently it did come across that way, so my bad. That's not my point. I just wish we could have something else that extends beyond the summit. I just don't, it's one of those things of feel great. It's a church service. You wake up Monday morning and you go about your day. That's all. I don't want to just wake up Monday morning and go about my day. I wanted to wake up Monday morning and there's this new edifice in place that's purely there specific to class rights. That's all. That's all. I mean, you have the powerhouse team there to pull it off. I mean, you have the luminaries in that sense. So, all right, I'll leave it at that. If you enjoyed the content, feel free to share, like, subscribe, and you can always support the work through Patreon. Thanks.